Yes, the titles of my videos are becoming more and more extreme, and I have a sense of liberation actually, having been banned from posting on YouTube. What that means is now that I've relocated all my content to Odyssey, I can now openly share my views on the experimental genetic engineering Frankenvax being injected into our old people without fear of breaking any of YouTube's community guidelines. Obviously, the fact that Big Pharma is breaking the Nuremberg Code is irrelevant. I'm getting a video under the wire because Storm Christoph is coming in and I'm in the Peak District. You may be able to see here just how swollen the river is, just how much water there is. Yeah, so the rains are set to come in. So actually, we're going to go onto the field. I think it's going to be a bit safer than being too near the river, and then I can let him off his lead and I can make a little video for you. So I'm considering that these videos are now kind of essential lockdown entertainment of a form. I don't know if you have already discovered the amazing Charles Veitch. He's amazingly entertaining. Charles Veitch, Veitch. You might want to find him on YouTube. He's a kind of masculine, Manchester-based urban version of me, far more edgy. Because he's a professional filmmaker, his filming and editing skills are far better than mine. Let me just organise myself here. You can see this is the floodplain. You can see the two swans over there. I've got in my hand a stiffy. I've got a little memorabilia drawer at home and I found this in it. This stiffy. And I'll read you what it says unless you can read it yourself. His Royal Highness, the Prince of Wales, President Business in the Community, requests the pleasure of the company of Miss Rachel Elnaugh at a seminar and reception to be held at St James's Palace from 9 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. on Thursday 23rd January 2003. It was a bit of a throwback to my corporate era because back in 2003 I was the chief executive of a multi-million turnover company. I just started winning business awards. I'd won an Entrepreneur of the Year award and I was shortlisted for Veuve Clicquot Businesswoman of the Year. And as a result of all that, I got a letter inviting me to be part of Business in the Community, headed by Prince Charles. And if I donated, or rather my company donated, £10,000 I think it was, then there would be invitations to go to St James's Palace and do all the royal thing. And of course I was really in the programme then. I was really in the corporate programme. I was really in the system, you know, all that excitement. Oh, I've got a stiffy, I'm going to St James's Palace, I'm going to meet Prince Charles. So I really get that world. I've been part of that world of big business, big money, power, fame, on the edges of it. I mean, I was never that hugely famous, but I've certainly experienced that world and rubbing shoulders with top people, you know, being a speaker on the top table at black tie events, sitting amongst MPs and heads of industry, and with all my Dragon's Den era. So in this video, I want to invite you to put yourself in the position of perhaps a powerful person in politics, or maybe you imagine that you are head of or chief executive of an essential company with a lot of power, a lot of influence, particularly in one of the sectors of business of the future, maybe pharmaceuticals, maybe technology, maybe social media platforms. I want you to imagine getting that kind of stiffy invite to a very high level. Oh, it's starting to rain here. Let's put my hood up. The good thing about putting a hood up is less easy for you to see my greying roots, and hopefully my hairdresser Calvin isn't watching. He'll tell me off. He's based in London, so I haven't been to London for a long time. Oh dear, Kobe's headed towards the swans. It's not good. Headed towards the swans. Oh dear, dear, dear. Let's hope we don't have any problems with the swans. Yes, I want you to imagine that you've got this very high-profile invitation to a very elite seminar meeting. And at this meeting, you've been called to discuss the issue of problems in the world. And of course, just like my invitation to be part of business in the community, you know, there's that pressure, isn't there, when you're privileged and you've money and you've got success, you've got to give something back. There's a very strong desire to want to be a philanthropist and to be benevolent. So I want you to imagine you've been invited to this presentation about problems in the world and how they're going to be solved. And imagine for 1 second you've also, because this is such a high profile, such a confidential elite group, that maybe you've also been asked to sign a non-disclosure agreement in return for your attendance at this high profile event. You'll not be allowed to ever discuss it with anyone, not be able to disclose any of the details with anyone. So you go to this high profile elite seminar somewhere very important, may even be at Davos, who knows, and a whole panel of experts and scientists and conservationists and environmentalists and economists make a very compelling presentation that there's far too many people in the world, 7.8 billion people on the planet, and that it's simply unsustainable, and that if we continue with 7.8 billion people on the planet, then humanity is sure to be wiped off the face of the earth. We have to do something. And then you're presented with a plan. And that plan, presented by the scientists and the mathematicians and the statisticians and the economists and the environmentalists, says that there's only, in truth, capacity for 500 million people to continue living on planet Earth. And that whilst this is a dramatic reduction in the world's population, it's necessary to bring the population down to 500 million if we're going to save humanity. And then you're presented with a compelling plan of how that can be achieved. And then you are offered, as part of your agreement, to be one of the architects of that plan, one of the implementers of that plan, one of the people who signed up, agreed to the plan, that you and your family is offered a golden ticket to be one of the 500 million to preserve your long-term future. Maybe there's also some financial incentive wrapped into the deal. And the way that it's presented is that you are going to be one of the architects, one of the heroes, one of the benevolent philanthropists that had to implement this tough medicine to save humanity. And it was painted that by agreeing, you're going to be a hero and remembered in history as one of the people that pulled off one of the greatest plans to reconstruct the way that we live on this planet. Sounds compelling, doesn't it? Sounds compelling. That golden ticket, just like in Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. Everyone wanted the golden ticket to see what went on inside Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. So this is my feeling, this is my intuition. That's what's happened. That is the incentive that has been offered to so many political leaders, chief executives, entrepreneurs, people in positions of power all over the world, they've all been signed up to this global reset with a significant personal incentive to be part of it, to be part of the team that implements it and saves humanity. That's my sense on what is going on. The more I listen to doctors and scientists about the experimental genetic engineering which is being forcibly injected into our elderly population without informed consent, in contravention of the Nuremberg Code. I had to do a little dog rescue there. So when you consider that is what is going on, everything kind of starts to make sense, doesn't it? All of the irrational decisions, none of it makes logical sense until you realise the extent of the master plan. So when you zoom out of the detail, everything starts to fall into place. And then it also explains the meaning and significance of the Georgia Guidestones, which paint a vision for humanity being reduced to 500 million people for the benefit of everyone living on the planet in harmony with nature.